Hello and welcome to Felt and Caboodle. Today we are making our new barn owl box, a collaboration between ourselves and the wonderful Romney Marsh wools. All the wool included in the box are from Romney Marsh wool's own flock and is hand dyed by us here at Felt and Caboodle. So let's open the box. Okay, so inside your box you'll have your instruction booklet, your link to this video, some natural wool, a brown, a grey and a black, one pipe cleaner, a 40 gauge and a 36 gauge needle, some wire, some parchment paper, a wood base for your owl to stand on and a felting pad. So the first thing we're going to have to do is fill up our eco felting pad. All you need is some dry rice. Open the bag and pour it in. You only need to fill it about halfway because you want the rice to be able to move around. Then do it up, knot it so it doesn't come undone, and then you're ready to go. You're going to need a couple of extra things for this box kit. You're going to need a pair of pliers, a ruler or a tape measure. Now these two are optional. A PVA glue or a glue gun. I tend to use Mod Podge, but you can use any type of glue that you want. It's just to secure your owl to your wooden base. And a pair of hair straighteners. These I will explain later. You can also use an iron. Right, so let's get started. So now let's do his wire frame and his feet. We're going to start by straightening out the wire. Now you're going to want to measure 18 centimetres from the end of your wire. There. Then with your pliers, you're going to do a 45-degree angle, like so. Next, you're going to measure 1 centimetre, and with your pliers, you're going to do another 45-degree angle. So you've got a zigzag. Then you're going to bring the wire back in on itself. You're going to hold it in place, and with your pliers you're going to twist. Then we're going to do exactly the same 3 more times. So we're going to measure 1 centimetre. This can be a little bit fiddly. 1 centimetre, 45-degree angle, bring it back in on itself, hold it in place and twist. Measure 1 centimetre from the leg. Hold it with your pliers, 45-degree angle, bring it back in on itself, hold it in place and twist. Final one. So 1 centimetre from the leg, 45-degree angle, and bring it back in on itself. Twist. So you should have a shape similar to this. Now all we're going to do is we're going to fold this excess wire in half. We're going to twist And then this excess bit at the top, we're just going to twist it around the wire above. We're going to move three of the feet, to the front and one to the back. So you're going to have a shape similar to this. Now we're going to repeat this process on the other side. So measuring 18 centimetres from the base. Going to do a 45-degree angle. I'm going to measure 1 centimetre. We're going to do a 45-degree angle. We're going to bring it back in on itself, and then we're going to twist. Three more times. And then we're going to fold this in half, so a portion of it comes over the top of the foot, and then we're going to twist. We're going to twist it up the leg. Move three of the toes forward and one of them back. Now all we're going to do is we're going to bring the feet together so we make a bit of a hoop. Right, and that's your armature done. So next we're going to work on building up your owl's body. First we're going to take our pipe cleaner and we're going to start around 5 centimetres from the base of the foot, and we're going to wrap the pipe cleaner around the wire. Now you want to keep this quite close together so there's no gaps. And then if you've got excess, just bring it back over the rest of the body, like so. Bring your feet back together. So next we're going to be using our 36 gauge needle and some of our natural Romney fleece. So we're going to take a sliver of the fleece, we're going to put it in the arch and we're going to knot it. Now you want the knot to sit on top as this will be his head. Then with the remaining sliver you're just going to wrap it tightly around the pipe cleaner. Gently felt it into place. Be careful not to hit the wire on the inside as it will break your needle. Do the other side, wrap it around and felt into place. Keep felting. Now you want the wool to be firm but bouncy once you're finished. You're going to keep on building up the body and the head. Just keep felting it into place and adding wool. So we're going to take another sliver and then we're going to wrap this sliver around both of the legs like so, and then around the head. We're going to felt it into place. Now you're going to carry on building this up, felting it nice and firm. Now in your book you have your templates, so you want the body to fit into these templates. So just keep felting, being careful not to hit the wire, and just keep building it up until it fills the template. Now you've finished building up your body, it's time to make the owl's face. Now owls have a very distinctive heart-shaped face. So we're going to take a small sliver of our wool and we're going to start rolling it in our hands. Now the idea of this is that it starts to felt together and we're going to make a cylinder. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our 40 gauge needle, which is our thinner needle, so you have to be quite careful with this needle as they do break easily. We're going to start in the centre of the face. Now this is where the beak will be. We're just going to tack it down in place. We're going to wrap the wool around the face, coming down into a slight point and bringing it back up and to the centre again. So at this stage it's going to look messy, but don't worry, we're going to tidy it up once we've got the shape right. Make sure that both sides of your heart are the same size. Now with this extra bit, just fold it back up and back round. So it should look a bit like that. Now what you're going to do is you're going to felt round each of the edges to just neaten it, making sure to keep that heart shape the same both sides. So once you've finished doing your owl's face, we're going to set him aside and we're going to work on the wings. We're going to take our parchment paper and put it on top of our felting mat. Now we're going to be following the template in the back of the book of the wing. Now you can, if you want, you can trace it onto your parchment paper. This will make it a little bit easier to follow the template. And then all you're going to do is put the wool over the top and follow round. So, put your parchment onto your felting pad. You're going to take a small amount of wool. Using our 40 gauge needle, we're going to start to felt it flat. Now it's really important not to put the needle all the way through so it goes through to your pad. You want to be really gentle and only put the tip in. Now to get the nice smooth edges, all you need to do is fold the wool over and you get a nice clear edge. Now once you're finished, you should end up with a wing that looks similar to this. Now we're going to leave one edge unfelted. This is what we're going to use to attach our wing to the back of our barn owl. So just keep felting, following the template. Once you move on to your second wing, it's a good idea to use your first wing as your template, just so they get exactly the same size. So you can just lay it over the top and felt in across the sides, just to make sure that your size is the same as your first. If you've transferred your template onto your parchment paper, you won't have to do this. So once you've finished your wings, it's time to move on to your tail. So we don't want to use the old piece of parchment, so we're just going to move it to the side and get a new clear bit. We're going to take a small sliver. I like to roll it in my fingers, like so. And we're going to felt a small rectangle, exactly the same way that we've done the wings. Remember to leave one edge unfelted. Once you have your small rectangle, we're going to set that aside. We can throw away the parchment and then we're ready to move on to the next step. Next, we're going to set our mat aside and we're going to take our 3 hand-dyed colours. So we're going to want to use all of our cinnamon, a little bit of your black, and around half of your grey. And what we're going to do is we're going to layer them. So we're just going to mix them up, making sure that you're keeping the fibres going in the same direction. And then all we're going to do is we're going to gently pull it apart. And we're going to keep doing this until the colours are blended together. So you're just going to pull, lay it back on top, pull again, lay back on top. Okay, so once you've finished blending your wool, it should look similar to this. Now we're going to need our pad again, and we're going to work on colouring our wings and our tail. So we're only going to need to colour one side of these. We're going to take a small portion of our blend. We're going to lay it over the top and felt it in. Now you want the colour to just go over the edge. So you're just going to go slightly over the edge, like so. And carry on doing this until you've got one side of each wing and one side of your tail completely covered. Okay, so now you should be finished colouring in your wings and your tail. Now with the rectangular tail, what I've chosen to do on mine was just colour the top section, leaving the edges white, and then I've done sort of like a scallop around the base. Now this is a really simple thing to do. All you do is go across the straight line, and in one place only you just felt in. This will pull the wool into the centre, giving this bumpy look on the end. So once you've finished those, set them aside, and we're going to work on our owl again. So now we're going to work on covering his legs and his feet. Now it's really important to take your time with this stage. You want to take a really thin sliver of your natural wool, and we're going to wrap it all the way around his leg really tightly over each of his toes, just leaving a small portion at the end exposed. And then we're going to bring it back up to the top of his leg and felt it into place. So I'm going to felt the first bit into place here, and then really tightly, you can move the other leg out of the way. Really tightly, we're just going to wrap, making sure we cover all of the wire, and then we're going to wrap around the toe, bringing it back in. If you've got enough left, you can wrap another toe before bringing it back up the leg, making sure to keep hold of it, and then you want to felt it into place at the top. Now use your 36 gauge needle for this bit, just in case you hit the wire. Okay, so now I've only got 2 toes left to cover. So I'm going to do exactly the same process again with a really thin sliver of our core wool. So we're going to attach it to the top, then really tightly we're going to wrap it around the legs, and then around the toe, around the other toe, making sure we've got no wire exposed other than the tips of the toe, like so. And then you're going to bring this bit nice and tight all the way back up the leg. And then we're going to felt that into place. So if you've got any bits that are a little bit looser, like I have here, just to the side of the wire, you can just felt it really carefully into place. That will just tidy it up a little bit for you. Okay, so now we have one foot covered. We want to do exactly the same process on the other one. Now, as you can see on mine, this thigh is a little bit bigger than this one, but that's okay because we want to build up the top of the legs anyway. So all we're going to do that is take a sliver, and we're going to do the same process that we've done to cover the feet, but we're only going to do the top portion of the leg. So we're just going to wrap it round. You don't need to do this one as tight as you done the first time, like that, and felt it into place. Now all you need to do is go round and make this nice and tidy, so you make sure you haven't got any exposed wire, and neaten up the thighs so they're exactly the same. So now it's time to iron your wings and your tail. See, this is an optional thing to do, but with the iron you get a much thinner look, which I'll show you in a moment. So I use hair straighteners, but you can use an iron, and it's exactly the same process. So you're just going to press down. Be careful not to leave the heat on the same area too long, because you don't want to burn your wool. So if I just show you the difference it makes. So this is our unironed one, and this is our ironed. You can see that it makes it a lot thinner, and this also makes it a lot easier to then place around your owl and give a nice sort of curve to the wing. So there we go. Another great thing about ironing them is you get this lovely edge. What you can also do with this is you can trim it with scissors. So if you've got any little wayward pieces of wool, you can just go around it and trim it and make those edges even sharper if you wanted to. Right, so now that's done, it's time to assemble our owl. Okay, so we need to attach the tail. So we're going to attach using the unfelted edges. So we're just going to place it, you want it quite low, so it's roughly around 4 mil above where your toes are. Make sure it's nice and central. And then we're just going to felt it into place. There we go. There we have our tail. So now it's time to attach the wings. Now this side is going to be on the inside across his back. We want this round part at the top to kind of come over where his shoulder would be. And then we want this to sort of dip backwards to the centre of the tail. So once you've got your positioning right, just put a couple of initial tacks into it just to make sure you're happy with the positioning, which I'm pretty pleased with that. So then I'm just going to go round all of the edges just to keep it in place. Now you don't need to go over the part that covers the tail. It's quite nice to have sort of a little bit of 3D movement in it there. So now you need to line up your other wing. Now we want it the same distance as his other side, so make sure you line it up nicely, and then it is going to overlap, so you're going to get a nice sort of overlap of these two portions of the wing. So get it into place, check it and double check again just to make sure that you've definitely got the right positioning. Okay. You're going to get a little bit of overlap at the back, that's absolutely fine. Go. Needs to come in a little bit. So I like felting it to the side on here, just so then you've got that nice distinct line of where one wing overlaps the other. So if you felt it in sideways like that and then felt down on top. And there we have it. There's his wings. Okay, so now that your wings and your tail are on, it's time to colour. We're going to colour all of the back of the bird, all the way up to the rim of the heart. So we're going to go along the heart edge, down into the tip and all the way along. And then we're going to do a thin line around the base of the heart here. We're going to colour up to here just to cover the shoulders and a thin line across here. So just take your colour blend and start filling it in any gaps that you've got at the back. Use your 40 gauge needle for this. Okay, so now that you've finished colouring in, it should look like this. So we've coloured all of the back in, around the edge of the heart on the face, and a thin line going around the base of the head. So now we're going to add some little spots to his chest. So for this you're going to need really tiny amount of your grey wool, and we're just going to take a couple of fibres. We're going to roll it in our hands, and then we're just going to put it and felt it into the chest. There we go. We'll do the same on the other side. Now you can add as many or as little of these as you like. You don't have to add as many as I'm adding, or you can cover all of the chest in them. It's entirely up to you. So this time I'm going to take an even smaller amount to make a smaller little dot. I'm going to do the same on this side. Another one there. I'm going to put 4 on each side. Ranging in thickness as well, so you get a slight, actually I think I'm going to do 5. Add another one in there, just a tiny one, and then another one up here. There we go, so there's his dots on his chest. And now we're going to start on his face. Right, so now we're going to start work on his face. Now we need a tiny bit of our grey wool. I'm going to roll it in my hands. And now the indentation that we made originally, we're going to go from the bottom of that. So we're just going to felt it in carefully with our 40 gauge needle, and you want to make a triangle, so just felt along the edge, make sure that it's nice and central. There's his little beak. So I'm going to felt this a bit more, and I'm going to add another layer of wool to the top just to give it a little bit more definition. So I'm taking pretty much the same amount of wool again and placing it over the top of the triangle that I've just made. Felt around the edges. Okay, so there's his beak. And now for the eyes, we're going to take a really small sliver of black wool, and we're going to roll it in our fingers like so, and then we're going to tear it in half, and we want to make little semicircles for his eyes. So we're going to felt in one end of the sliver that we've just made, and then we're going to felt it into a semicircle. This bit is a little bit tricky, but don't rush, take your time. There we go. And now we're going to do the other eye. So make sure that they're in the same position. As you can see, I'm being really cautious because I don't want to felt it in and it be wrong. So just take your time. There we go, there's his eyes. Now I like to add a little bit of the brown wool. Now for this you only need a couple of little fibres, and I place them on top of his eye. And just felt them in really gently. Just gives him a nice little extra detail. And there we go, you've got your little owl. Now the last step is to attach him to your base. So to do this, depending on how much wire you've got left down here, just place him in his base. If it's too long, just take your pliers that you used earlier and cut off any excess wire. Now you can use glue, as I said earlier, to secure him into his base. Any type of PVA, Mod Podge glue gun, any of the above will work. So we just put him into the holes. Now it'll be nice and tight, which is what you want. And there we go. And then he'll stand up and he's all finished. So thanks for joining us and watching the video. Please do share your finished owls with us over on our social media because we love to see them. Happy felting!